Hello students, today we are going to discuss the chapter 15 of class 7 science, that is forest. And there is a very beautiful poem regarding the forest. The green lungs of nature that purify the atmosphere. Forests are our lifeline, and it is through them that nature shines. It is very truly said that the forest act as a green lungs of the nature. They help in the removal of the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and forests are our lifeline because we are totally dependent on forest for our need, and it is through them that nature shines. So forest is a large area of land covered thickly with different kind of trees, shrubs, herbs, grasses, creepers and climbers. And forest is a home to many animals and plant species. Forests cover approximately one third of the Earth's total land surface and roughly about 3.9 billion hectares, excluding the polar regions and Greenland. Now the question arises, how do plants and animals depend on each other in a forest? Why are forests important for us? Why are forests being cut at a faster rate? How has forest deforestation led to drastic changes in our environment? We will find the answer of these questions in this chapter. But before starting, let's first know the definition of the forest. An area with high density of trees is called forest. And a forest is a system which is composed of plants, animals, and microorganisms. Components of forest. A forest consists of many components. These can be broadly divided into two categories: biotic components and abiotic components. These components are same as that of the components of the environment, ecosystem. Biotic components are the living components and abiotic components are the non-living components. The living components of a forest include trees, shrubs, vines, grasses, other herbaceous plants, mosses, algae, fungi, insect, birds, reptiles, and many microorganisms. Whereas the non-living component of the forest includes soil, water, minerals, air, landforms, temperature, and the different living organism and non-living part of the forest, they interact with one another. So life exists in forest. As you know that living organism can be classified as autotrophs, heterotrophs and saprotrophs. Autotrophs are those that can prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis, and heterotrophs are those that are dependent on plants and animals for their food. And saprotrophs are the organisms that derive their food from the dead and decaying organic matter. So the herbivores consume the plant and are in turn eaten by the carnivores. Such a sequence to Such a sequence of who eats whom makes up a long chain which is known as a food chain. So, for example, there is an example of some food chains: grassland, pond, and ocean. So, in grassland, grasses are eaten by grasshoppers. Grasshoppers are eaten by rat. Rat is eaten by snake, and snake is eaten by hawk. So in this case, grass is a primary producer. They are the main source of food on earth, and they are consumed by primary consumer, that is herbivores. Secondary consumers are the carnivores. Secondary, tertiary and quaternary consumers are the heterotrophs that are dependent on other organism for their food. In a pond biome, algae is eaten by the mosquito's larva. Mosquito's larva is eaten by dragonfly, and dragonfly is eaten by fish, and fish is eaten by raccoon. And in an ocean biome, phytoplanktons are eaten by zooplanktons. Zooplanktons are further eaten by fishes. Fishes are eaten by seal, and seal is eaten by white shark. These are the example of the different food chain. And many such food chain, they can be found in a forest, and they are interlinked with each other, and they form food webs. And if any components from this link is removed, the rest of the chain get affected. For example, if the plants are removed, the herbivores like rabbits will die, and there will be scarcity of food for the carnivores like like snake and lion. And if the decomposers like bacteria and fungi they are removed, the nutrients will not be recycled, and the soil would become deficient in nutrient and would not be able to support life. So a network of many food chain is called a food web. This is called food web. It consists of all the food chains in a single ecosystem. For example, grasses are eaten by grasshopper, grasshopper is eaten by snake, snake is eaten by eagle. Similarly, many food chains combine and they form food web. For example, grass is eaten by deer, deer is eaten by lion. Grasses are eaten by grasshopper, grasshopper is eaten by sparrow, and sparrow is further eaten by hawk. So they form a food web. A forest is able to function as an independent unit. This is a independent unit. Means there is no direct addition of fertilizers and seeds or food and water for animals. And these are all things are possible in a forest. Material moves in a continuous nutrient cycle. Saprotrophs help in the recycling of the minerals from the dead decaying organic matter. Plants, the animals and insects, they help in the pollination. Similarly, the different agents of like air, water, animals, they help in the dispersal of the seed. So this is all these all materials within a forest moves in a continuous cycle and along a food chain and through a food web that goes from plants to plants eater, means from plants to herbivores, then to carnivores that are the meat eaters animals, and then to decomposer and again back to the plant. So there is a recycling of minerals, and the term food web is a better description for a forest than a food chain. So this is because a single plant or animals may have link to many other. For example, in this food web, those animals that eat both plant and other animals, means omnivores, they have links with many plants and a variety of other meat eating animals that are known as carnivores. So decomposers such as bacteria, fungi and some worms, they are especially important member of our food chains and food webs because they play a very important role to break down the rough woody fibers of trees, and they help in the recycling of the minerals. Now we will discuss the different layers of the forest. Forest is made up of many layers, and starting from the ground level and moving up, the main layer of all types of the forest are the forest floor. This is forest floor. The lower layer is known as the forest floor. Second one is the understory. Third one is the canopy, and the fourth one is a emergent layer. But as we have just discussed earlier, the type of vegetation and animal found in different forest where they vary depending on the climatic condition of the region the forest is situated in. So a forest consists of different layers of vegetation. These are the three main layers: canopy, understory and forest. And the part of tree above the trunk is known as the crown of the tree, and the crowns are of different types and sizes. So in tropical rainforest there exists another layer which is known as the emergent layer. It is this emergent layer generally exists in the tropical rainforest, and each layer has a different set of plants and animals depending upon the availability of sunlight, moisture and food. Now let us discuss them one by one. We will starting from the top, the emergent layer. This layer consists of tallest trees, and this layer is very sunny. Why it is very sunny? Because it receives maximum sunlight, and it is also known as the overstory. Animals like eagle, monkey, bats and butterfly, they are found in this layer. The second layer is the canopy. Canopy is formed by the mass of intertwined branches. The branches of the tall trees, they get intermingled with each other, their twigs get intermingled with each other, and they form a roof like structure. This layer is most productive part, means most of the photosynthesis takes place in this layer because it receives sunlight. Up to 95% sunlight is received by this layer, and many animals like birds, frogs, lizard, seals, etc. are found in this layer. And canopy, we can define the canopy as the uppermost branches and leaves of tall tree which act like a roof or umbrella over the smaller trees in a forest is called canopy. And it has tall evergreen trees with large green leaves, and the branches overlap each other forming a continuous cover of dense leaves. This layer is so dense that very little sunlight penetrate through it and reaches the lower layer of the forest. And a large variety of birds, bat, monkey, insect live here, and some animal live solely in the canopy region. So they do not move down to the ground at all. The next layer is understory. The layer of vegetation in the forest just below the canopy is called the understory, and this layer consists of bushes, shrubs and young trees that developed in shade of canopy. The animals like birds, butterflies, frogs and snakes, squirrels, raccoon and opossums are found in this region. Plants such as orchids, palm and ferns, they grow in this region under the canopy. And animals like jaguar, python and leopard, they also live here. The next layer is forest floor. This layer consists of all dead matter like decomposing leaves, and this region receives very little amount of sunlight. Only plants adapted to grow with very less light can survive in this damp, swamp and dark region of the forest. And the forest floor has various kind of small leafless plants such as mosses and lichens, and the floor is covered with a layer of dead and decaying leaves, fruits, seeds, twigs and small worms. And a large variety of insects, millipedes, centipedes, ants and beetles are found in the forest floor. And the largest animal in the forest such as tiger, lions, deer, bear, etc. live on the forest floor. So these are the four layers of the forest, and the crown of the forest, importance of the forest we will discuss in our next video. Thank you.